coming to an end. When we leave behind all that we understand, you can't turn to a friend, 'cause they won't give a damn. Help me, I think I'm losing my mind. All the thoughts in my brain are going crazy inside. Should I yell? Should I scream? Oh, it's all stacked up on me. Please leave me alone, 'cause I'm my own worst enemy. I'm going overboard. It's all coming to an end. When we bend and break until we understand, you can't turn to a friend. Do you really think they give a damn? Help me, I think I'm losing my mind. All the thoughts in my brain are going crazy inside. Should I yell or should I scream? Oh, it's all stacked up on me. Please leave me alone, 'cause I'm my own worst enemy. I think I'm losing my mind. All the thoughts in my brain are going crazy inside. Should I yell? Should I scream? Oh, it's all stacked up on me. Please leave me alone, 'cause I'm my own worst enemy. Help me, I think I'm losing my mind. All my thoughts in my brain are going crazy inside. Should I yell or should I scream? Oh, it's all stacked up on me. Please leave me alone, 'cause I'm my own worst enemy. I'm going overboard.
Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene.
I am John Popko. I work for Time Shamrock Communications with Rock 107, ESPN, and Alt 92.1. And I'm also the Saturday night host of Alt Natives on Alt 92.1.
So tonight we're here with Stay Loud, a pop-punk alternative rock band from Wilkes-Barre. We'll be performing at the very last Vans Warped Tour at KeyBank Pavilion in Burgettstown near Pittsburgh on Monday, July 16th, which is just before their stop at the Pavilion at Montage Mountain in Scranton, the following week on Thursday, July 26th. So as you can see, they're going to play a few acoustic songs for us. They're going to close out the night with that as well. We're talking about the band's new songs, their upcoming debut full-length album, some memories from Warped Tour and letting the festival go after 24 years. Shooting a music video at Backbreakers and the future of all ages shows in Scranton. Punk rock and pop punk, the local music scene, and much, much more. So please, if any of those interest you, if you want to talk to us, you want to talk to the band, you want to get them to ask you want to ask them any questions, anything like that, please leave those questions down below. We will get to them at some point in the show. It's much more fun when you guys interact with us. And just kind of a general question overall for the show, what are your opinions on Warped Tour? Are you glad to see it go? Do you think it's kind of dying off anyway? Or are you sad to see it go? Do you have some great memories? Share any of your Warped Tour memories. We would love to hear from you about your favorite Warped Tours you ever went to. I'm wearing my old shirt from 2004, so I guess this is now considered vintage, sadly. It's the first Warped Tour I ever went to with an incredible lineup, and obviously those lineups have changed over the years. So, what do you think about some of the old lineups? What do you think about the current lineup? Please let us know. So we're also streaming on Periscope on Twitter, so if you want to watch us on there, we'll also be on Twitter. But before we get to the interview, we have some beers to crack open from Beer Boys in Wilkes-Barre. They give us these wonderful crowlers from their 72 beers on tap. And tonight, you can get some Bud Light in Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders glasses. You can keep the glassware and get some free Rail Rider t-shirts, bobbleheads, game tickets, and a chance to win New York Yankees tickets tonight until 8 p.m. So don't tune out to the show, but you should head down to Beer Boys and check that out. They do every Wednesday's glass night, so they have a different promotion every Wednesday, which works out for us. So one of those beers I'm pretty sure is a Bud Light to go with that promotion.
It is.
Which is something I have not had in a very long time. I've kind of become a snob when it comes to beer.
We're going to need it as like a cleanser because he also gave us New Belgium, what the hell is it called?
Something like that.
The Hemperor.
The Hemperor.
And the Trogs Mad Elf in honor of Christmas in July.
Oh, that's cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, and I got the beer tonight. It was like my worst fucking nightmare. Yankees fans everywhere. I hate all of them. Especially Freddie. And my new hatred for, what's his name, Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you.
So you just went in there, fuck you, you're cool,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Actually, the door guy is actually a Boston fan. And I walked in here, finally, a Boston fan.
So he's having a worse night because
Yeah.
he's having to sit there
He
all
has to
night.
stay there, yeah. But,
Jeez.
the beer's cold and inexpensive, so it was worth the 10 minutes I was there.
Sure. I'm excited for the Mad Elf because you can't always get that, so it's cool to
Yeah.
have it in July.
Yep, for sure.
So we'll start with the Bud Light then?
No, we need that.
Oh, we need that to cleanse out the night.
Get
So,
rid
all right.
of the not get rid of, but yeah, cleanse
Well,
the palate.
let's start with the hemp then. That
right.
sounds interesting. A hemperor?
He must have seen my post today that I shared that
Yeah.
Nevada had $30 million in tax revenue in the first 6 months of taxing marijuana. God, what we could do with that money here in PA.
I know, right?
We could
Well,
fill
it
a
smells like
pothole.
weed.
Yeah,
I
we
swear to God,
could.
it smells exactly like weed.
Holy shit. Yeah, it does.
Wow.
Hello.
All right.
Wow.
You guys don't know what weed smells like?
Nope.
No,
That here.
no.
Wow. Holy shit.
They're in a band and you don't think they know what weed smells like? Come on.
Yo,
At the very least, I'm sure they played a few venues that smell like
I
it.
wish our viewers could smell this.
That's what we got to work on, some smell-o-vision.
Yes.
Yo, go to Beer Boys and get the Hemperor. Oh, Lord, smell
Yeah,
it.
that sounds super interesting.
I think we'll be able to.
There you go.
That really smells like weed. Holy shit.
Yes.
You'd skip
Yes.
me. I actually don't drink.
You don't.
Yeah, I know, right?
Another. Give me that back.
You getting some more?
All right.
That's okay. We can respect that.
Is our producer? Does he drink?
No, he's not having any tonight.
Good thing we got the light because we killed today.
Yep.
I wish Brittany was here for once.
We invited her.
Are we still saying her
She's free
name?
to come. I guess so. Bear Boys also offers
Okay, I can smell that
$3.50
from here.
personal pizzas and half price happy hour from 9 to 11, which they have a half price happy hour every night of the week, which is pretty cool. So what do you think of this?
I can smell it from here. Like,
What does it taste like?
Not what it smells like.
It's probably a good-
describe it.
It's probably a good thing. Actually, it tastes really good.
It does taste good.
It is good.
Does.
Yeah.
Not what I thought it would taste like.
It's really good.
Yep.
New Belgium is a quality
That's true.
brewery.
We also want to plug our other sponsor, the V-Spot, one of the most popular bars in northeastern Pennsylvania. Live entertainment every night of the week. This week they have Kenneth Norton from Grace's Downfall tonight, Lightweight Duo on Thursday, Rare Form on Friday, New Era playing new metal covers on Saturday, which I might end up at because I missed it last time, and I'm curious about that. I'm an unabashed fan of that era. I know people shit on new metal, but it introduced me to metal.
Is that Limp Bizkit? Is that new metal?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's in that era,
Early-
like Korn,
early Linkin Park.
Oh, that.
But like Slipknot, Mudvayne, those were the stuff that I kind of listened to. I wasn't really big on Limp Bizkit, but yeah, it's in that same sort of vein. And a lot of that stuff I think was experimental in a time when it needed to sound fresh. I think there was a time when metal was sort of starting to get stale. So it was nice to have something new and people experimenting and trying new sounds and stuff like that. And not all of them worked. I mean, most of them were, one or two hit wonders. They had one good album and then, you didn't see them again. But there's plenty more that are still around to this day. I mean, Slipknot's still doing really well. Korn's still doing really well. So
Didn't Korn just release a new album?
I think so, yeah.
They did last year, I believe.
think so.
Was that any good?
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe I'm thinking Nine Inch Nails recently.
Yeah. They're more like in the industrial vein, although
Yeah.
I think they benefited from that era for sure. And then DJ Huff is hosting karaoke on Sunday. And I was just talking to Vinny, our NEPA Scene Rising Talent Open Mic and Talent Contest will return with a new format on Tuesday, September 4th. So we're going to have 13 weeks this time instead of 12. And we're doing it very differently. We're going to be offering prizes online, but you actually have to show up to be eligible for them. So the voting is kind of going to move off-site as opposed to in the bar every week. But you still have to show up and hang out at the open mic to be eligible for that. So it's going to be a little different, but it should be interesting. And I think you guys will be performing there too with Traverse the Abyss.
Yes, we
Yes.
will be.
Saturday, August 24th.
Yes.
I think it's a Friday, isn't it Friday?
It's a
Is
Friday.
it? That's a Friday?
Yeah.
I can't keep track of that.
That's okay.
Okay, well, it's the 24th. Just look at a calendar.
E57, 86 Bullets, and One Day Waiting, I think, are also playing on that show. So
Yes.
make sure you stop by for that and support original local music, which is obviously what we're here to do tonight. First thing we want to talk about, of course, is kind of how the band got started. You guys have only been around a couple years,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
have you been in other bands and stuff before that?
Yes.
Yes.
So can you talk about how you went from that to what you're doing now then?
Well, let's see. Well, back in high school, my very first band was called Seems Like Thievery. We were a ska punk band.
Okay.
Now, being it's a high school band, we clearly didn't. We, at a certain point, we were like, yeah, this ain't going nowhere. So, yeah, so
Sure.
we stopped. So there was like a good 4 or 5 years of not playing any music, and then Alex O'Brien, he was looking to start a band, and he worked with me and Eric and James from Toothless, and we briefly had a band called Malt Liquor Factory, and which was a lot of fun. And then at a certain point, we went our separate ways, and then it's like, boy, I need to start a band. So I was at a CentreQuest show, and that was when I met my bassist CJ, and so we talked about doing a band, and we were looking for members. And then I remember Justin, our drummer, because we were both in the music club together at Luzerne County Community College. So hit him up, and it was an interesting first band practice because I was getting over a flu, and those two haven't even met yet. So I'm like driving up to Hunlock Creek, and like I'm just completely out of it. Get there, and it was in the middle of January, so it's cold. I'm getting over a flu. I'm seeing Justin for the first time in a long time, and these two are about to meet for the first time. So I was like, man, this might be a little awkward, but it went well. So we went through the process of finding a singer, and a friend of mine just tagged me on a Facebook post, and it was Chris, saying that he was looking for a guitarist, a bassist, and a drummer. And so I messaged him like, hey man, I have a band that needs a singer. Want to join? And we both met, I think 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
2015? Yeah. We both played guitar for the American Idiot musical at the Phoenix Living Arts Theater. We both played guitar in it, and so at the time, I remember I was going to ask him if he wanted to start a band, but I think you were sort of in a band, were you?
I was still doing my acoustic
There
stuff.
you go.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, guess I can't ask him. So, but all things work out at some point, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was in a band probably 6-7 years ago with Ryan Grutt, who's an alma mater now.
Right.
Michael Dudds McDonald, who's the godly guitarist of E57.
Is he in that band yet?
Not yet.
Mouth?
No, see, you know what, Smack
He got
Mouth,
blocked, didn't he?
he got blocked. Not only
He got
did he get
blocked.
I got blocked. I was so pissed off. I called him and I was like, Smack Mouth fucking blocked me.
I told him to repeat it. I'm like, I'm sorry, repeat that again.
was like,
Smash Mouth blocked. I mean, I never in a million years would have thought I'd hear that sentence.
Because I was like spamming the hell out of them every
You were.
day. Like I wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
Oh man,
We got that. That petition got pretty far.
Right?
it did.
It got really far,
did.
but oh well.
But yeah, we had a band called Perfect Focus, and we played some cool stuff. We played the Trocadero in Philadelphia and stuff, and we recorded an album. And then I did my solo acoustic stuff a few years ago. And then, like he said, we met at the American Idiot musical at Phoenix in Duryea there, and
a fun time.
here we are, maybe like a year and a half into it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would
Give
say
or
so.
take?
Yeah, give
Yeah.
or take. Like we technically we formed in 2016, but we didn't start actually performing. We didn't announce the band officially until January 2017. So at that point, we've already been a band for like a year.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Takes time.
yeah,
That's good though. You want to give it time to
Yeah.
to sit and figure out what you guys want to do. Exactly. How did you come to what I like about your sound is it's not just, you can't just say it's pop punk. Like the fact that you have, because I see that a lot. Bands will they don't want to pigeonhole themselves into a genre.
Right.
And I could definitely see there's those alternative rock elements and stuff in what you guys do. How did you guys come to that sound?
I mean,
we just always like different things. Like one of my to me my favorite albums are albums that have like one of everything. So maybe something a little faster, or something something a little punkier, or something an acoustic song, maybe a sad emotional song. Those are always been my favorite albums. So I think it was always our goal to just one of everything, do something different. We have some pop punkier stuff that you'd expect, stuff that's a little more punkish, less pop. We have more songs like Overboard, which is a little more heavier. A couple new songs off the album we're working on are a little more mellower. So
the new album, Don't Expect Any Pop Punk. That's for sure.
yeah.
I think every song is different, and I think everyone will like it.
There's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Now, how's it going from you were doing some solo stuff by yourself into this? Are you writing the songs differently now? Do you have a different mindset, or are you coming from a similar area?
I mean, I usually write about similar aspects, depending on how I'm, feeling or what's going on. It was definitely a change from transitioning over, because like when we did the Basement EP, I was they were like, oh, we want like pop punk, and I like pop punk, but like writing it really confuses me. But so I tried, but you'll definitely see a drastic, because I'm more comfortable now. Especially, we're more comfortable with ourselves.
Oh yeah.
So like the writing process has been a lot easier and better, and like just communicating ideas has been a lot better. You'll see a drastic change in like the full length record we're working on compared to the EP.
Now you guys did the EP at Side B? was
Yep.
it?
Side B, yes.
You can talk about that experience a little bit. You guys do have a video out there that kind of chronicles that a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yes.
But, you know,
It was funny because the weekend we recorded, so like we like busted out four songs that weekend.
Yep.
So that was the weekend when that tornado hit in Pittston. So it was that kind of thing. I just remember we're up there, we're working, and then we just hear this loud noise outside. We're like, what the hell is that? We open the door and just like pouring,
It's like
raining.
hailing, it's
At a certain point, CJ and I we went to Wendy's to get food, and when we were driving back, that was when the storm really got bad, and like I just remember this wall of rain. Like, okay, I have to pull over. So when I think of the recording of the EP, I can't help but think of that storm because it's like, wow, that was a very weird and interesting day. And
Right.
then later on, it started snowing, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? We had a show that night in Carbondale, so we had to drive from we had to drive from Dorrance to Carbondale.
It was that old lyrics place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they renamed it the Hangout. I don't know if it's still.
I don't know if it's still a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if
anymore.
it's still around,
Yeah.
but we had to drive from Dorrance all the way there. And like I said, this was after that tornado hit, so we're
Right.
passing by Pittston, and it's really freaky. And on the way back, that was when it started snowing, and I'm like, Mother Nature, can you make up your mind? but no, that was definitely a fun time recording that EP because we were still
We're still pretty new to it.
we're still
So-
new to it, like being in an actual professional studio, actually paying for it. Like it's like, oh boy, this is. I was afraid to touch stuff because I'm like, oh, I might break something. But we got very comfortable very quickly, and Tom, who produced the Basement EP, like he was just very like. We're the worst musicians. It takes us probably at least 18 takes. I think any other producer would just be like, get the fuck out. But
Quite patient.
he was the most patient person I know.
A lot of ideas come out in the studio that we
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought of prior.
Oh, yes.
So it takes more time.
Sure.
So it's worth it. It's just it aggravates us sometimes.
It's like we'll be at the end of the song and they'll be like, oh, well, you know what? Let's try this. Just try it, and then be like, oh, crap.
It's like, why didn't we think of that?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you're paying him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We have a new producer who took over for Tom.
Eric.
His name is Eric, and he has been killing it so
Oh, yeah.
far with the new music we've been working on, and we're so very happy that he's working on it with us because he has some great ideas, and the product is definitely.
It's a
good.
bit of a cliched thing for bands to say about their producers, but in a way, Eric is sort of like our fifth member. So like, it just the chemistry works. Because at first, when we started recording for this album, the first day Tom was there, and then he was handing the keys to the kingdom over to Eric, and then it was that kind of thing where it's like, oh hey, cool, we're gonna be working with someone new, and he learned everything. He learned a lot from Tom, so it felt like as if we were still working with Tom. So the transition was good. It wasn't anything too jarring of a transition when working with people. So we were instantly comfortable with him. Like we screw around way too much. Just the last recording session we had, he was fixing my guitar, and a spring got loose and fell off. And we needed to fix that. We needed that spring to get that guitar completely fixed. For the life of us, we couldn't find the spring, so we had to move the couch and just move everything around until we find this dinky little spring, and we could not find it. And that was the moment we realized just how dirty that studio is, because we turned on all the lights. We're looking under the couch, and it's like there's so much fucking dust down here. It's not even funny.
Well, when you don't think about it.
Yeah.
Then,
It's like a movie theater when they turn on the lights completely. It's the most disgusting thing. But no, we have so much fun working with him, and we always are just, when our friends' bands are asking, hey, you guys know any good producers around, we always recommend Side B. We always recommend Eric.
And like I have nothing against other studios. I've been to other studios, but like we're just very comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Now, personally, me, I won't go to anyone else. That's just how how I feel about
That's
it.
how it works with life, That's why you go to the same person that get your hair cut.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. So that's good.
So you guys you said you're going in a bit of a different direction with this. So what can people expect from the new record coming up?
In a way, it's a bit more angstier, I guess.
It
There's a particular song we're releasing this Friday that
Yes.
can truly attest to.
I was gonna say that's pretty.
That's
Well, we were
aggressive.
we were discussing a few songs to release as a single because we're playing the last Warped Tour.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, let's go this," and I was like, "Well, why don't we release Fuck Yourself?" And they're like, "Oh no, that won't be good," like. And I'm like, "No, that'll cause some like attention toward us, good or bad,
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I think people really like it. I really do. Be like an
I'm
anthem.
Yeah.
I'm sad I can't play it on my show.
Yeah.
Yes, so are we. But
Yeah. Even if we tried to make a censored version, it's just going to be an utter mess.
it's you'll be surprised. I think towards the end of the song, I don't think anyone will expect what happens. So that's also exciting for us because
is.
we didn't think it was going to happen either.
It was a complete accident.
So you'll find out in a couple when you hear
So
it.
plot twist in your song.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
That
So-
we found by accident.
Sort
One day
of-
of us messing around, it's like,
I'll just say it's a genre twist.
yes,
So it'll be fun.
it's a
It'll be a good
country
time.
song.
No, it's not a country song. But no, it's more, there's elements of punk rock, some hardcore. There's acoustic stuff, which I personally love for myself because that's like my most comfortable thing to do. There's a song on there called My Dreams. It kind of gives like a classic rock type of vibe somehow.
Nice.
But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Every song's different.
Yeah, one of
So
everything.
you don't expect the same thing from a different song, which I think is really cool because you'll always be on your toes.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get to a couple comments. We want to see more comments from you
Yes.
people. You people are being lazy. Come on.
I'm afraid some of my friends
Listen.
might comment weird stuff.
Bobby Wanamaker says, "Stay loud, way to go." Lucy Toulouse says,
Hi, Mom.
Stay loud is awesome."
Thank you.
And
She has to say that.
absolutely.
Yeah, Mom, you better say that.
Thanks, Mom.
Christopher Stortz says, "Chris Cashmere is hot."
See you after.
Corey Warnick asks, well, this is a good transition into our Warped Tour discussion. Is there a band you guys would like to meet behind the scenes at Warped Tour, either before or after your set?
Ooh. I mean, trying to remember because
I
trying to remember who exactly is on the tour.
Yeah.
personally, I would like to meet Bowling for Soup. I just think that'd be really cool.
That'd be cool.
I feel like they're a bunch of fun guys, so that'd be really neat.
Come to think of it, be just out of pure nostalgia. Simple Plan. I would like to meet them.
Are they on the?
They
on
are.
The bill? Oh wow.
They are.
Okay.
But I would like to meet them just because like that their first album.
It's awesome.
It's
I would
awesome.
I would also like to meet Motionless in White. I met them a bunch of times, but like to see if they even remembered who I was.
You practically
maybe.
stalked them at a Wegmans the
No,
one
I
time.
didn't. No, I didn't. No. It's just coincidence.
Sorry, it's like,
No. So Chris Motionless was in Wegmans, and I went in there, and just by chance, like this will never happen again. By chance, we went into the same aisle every time.
That's
But we
stalking.
were opposite. No, but it was like opposite. So like we were a complete opposite part. Oh, sorry. And like every time I would go in, he would turn in, and I'd be like, he's gonna think I'm stalking this man, and I'm not.
maybe he was
Right.
stalking you.
Maybe, who knows?
They knew that one day this guy right here is gonna be playing Warped Tour with me.
Be like, hey, we're from the same place.
Went to the same high school.
Yes, we did. We did go to the same high school.
Let's go with that story. He was stalking
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Leave the kid alone.
Yeah.
Same name too.
Same name.
Oh,
name.
Yeah.
boy.
He put out a great video, which we posted on the site a couple weeks ago, about he went back to the pavilion, like
Yeah.
the grounds and stuff, walked around a little bit and talked about doing exactly what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
You know, starting out on that small stage, on the local stage, and then working his way up to being a headliner. So, you know, it's absolutely possible to do it. You know, I thought it was cool. It was inspirational. It was great that he still remembers where he's from and
Yes.
constantly does that. When they played at Warped Tour 2 years ago, they had the single 570,
Yes.
which obviously is about the area.
There we go.
And their backdrop for every date was the Scranton Electric City sign.
Which is
So,
great.
You know, it
pretty
wasn't
cool.
just for our date; it was, you know,
of them.
nationally. So it's pretty cool that, you know, he still puts that out there and,
Yeah.
and you know, is proud of that. Because I remember interviewing him, you know, years ago. You know, it was right around the time that they were getting bigger and
Yeah.
and starting to blow up more and stuff. And, you know, I'd said about, you know, his hometown area, and he kind of wasn't sure about it. He's like, you know, some people here are really cool, and other people just kind of dismiss us and whatever. And I think that's what a lot of local bands struggle with is,
Yeah.
you know, trying to build a following, especially in this day and age when nobody wants to pay a fucking $5 cover to go
It's,
to a local bar.
It's definitely difficult,
Yeah.
for sure. We've been taking a different approach lately because last year we played like, I don't know, what, 50 shows, 60 shows?
We played at least twice a week.
It was crazy, yeah. And we were, you know, not a lot of people were coming out. We played very few shows this year, very few, maybe 4? Like we didn't play a lot.
I mean, our last show was early June when we did First Friday. That was
Yeah.
actually the last show. So
we
Warped
played-
is
we
going to be
played,
our
like,
first
4
show in a
shows.
while.
So and every time we've been seeing like a huge crowd, so which is really nice.
Yeah.
And we think maybe it has something to do with that, or I don't know, but it's just nice.
No, it's definitely a good approach.
Where did you guys play First Friday at?
At the
Oh,
time,
I was searching for.
Got to get that plug in there.
only the best radio station.
In the dopest theater. Seriously, I love that theater.
Oh, it was great.
First time I went there was for Toothless. I'm like, how have I never heard of this? This is so cool.
Yeah. Well, like I said before, we were talking like you guys, the bands that have been on that stage that people don't know about. 21 Pilots, Everclear, Imagine Dragons have all been on that stage, and 20 people came to see them. There's probably more at your show than to see Imagine Dragons and stuff. But it's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
Saying you're the next Imagine Dragons. I don't know.
Maybe.
But, you know, I've heard that from a lot of local bands. Behind the Gray being one of them on this show was talking about how they play a lot less hometown shows because of that. You know, and it draws more people to that one show because it's going to be the only chance you're going to see these guys for a while,
Right.
as opposed to playing every week. You know, sometimes it just gets, you know, people like, oh, I'll just go see them next week, and they put
Exactly.
off, and then they never go.
Exactly.
Makes
Well, I
it
feel like
an
that's
event.
that's with anything though. You have to have it be special. And
Yeah,
sure.
It has to be like an experience, and it has to be like the limited edition, exclusive. You know. So.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So how did you guys end up on Warped Tour then?
We
Stock Smash Mouth.
yeah yes we stock
Yes.
Smash Mouth. All right, that's how you
Didn't
do
get
it.
blocked.
But no, we work with like a promotion agency, I think you called them,
Yes.
from the depths, and
They've been very good.
they've
to
been
us.
very good to us. And what happened was they messaged us, they emailed us saying, hey, here's the contact for the person who's booking the local stage for the Mansfield Boston Warped Tour. And I was like, sure, why not? We'll give it a try. I played a lottery or do raffles every once in a while. Why not? So just emailed them saying, hey, we're interested in performing. A couple weeks later, they responded back saying that we're a little too far for them. So they forwarded our email to the Pittsburgh location. So now probably a month passed, and I was just chilling in my living room watching YouTube videos. They're probably cat videos. So I'm just chilling there, and I'm like, let me check the band email. It's been a while. I checked, and an email that was sent probably like an hour ago, it said, on behalf of the Vans Warped Tour, we'd like to invite Stay Loud. And I was like, huh?
I remember him saying that. I was the first one to see the email because I have it set up as a notification. So I work at First National Bank in Scranton, but I also work at Burger King in Pittston there. I remember I got the notification and I read like on behalf of we welcome. I threw my phone. I ran around the Burger King like 5 times, and they're like, "What the fuck's going on?" I'm like, "Dreams coming true. That's what's going."
Yes. So like I messaged the chat, our group chat, and I'm like, guys, like, where? And it's funny because like CJ and Justin, it took them a while to respond back. So I'm like, guys, the one time I need you guys to respond, like right now, like this is important. You obviously
I
you were
responded immediately. I didn't- there was no-
automatically. But it was so funny because we got a little concerned because like CJ was not responding until like the following day. So we messaged his girlfriend and we was like, hey, is everything okay with him? And apparently he was asleep and his phone was dead, so there was no way of getting contact. So she was like, is anything important? Yeah, we're playing Warped Tour. It's like, yeah,
That's pretty important.
if you can let him know when he wakes up, we're playing
It
Warped
was
Tour.
definitely hard to keep the secret because we weren't allowed
Oh,
to
gosh.
announce it until the day they announced it.
Sure.
So like it was very
Yeah.
difficult to keep.
We,
because it's so exciting.
We told like our close friends, like you told Ryan Grutt.
Yeah.
Did you kill everyone at Burger King?
Oh my god, I was literally crying, and they were very concerned because they had no idea what was happening, and I was like,
Did you tell them? Though?
I did. I told
you
them.
Had to kill them.
Right after that.
They didn't believe me at first. They didn't believe me, but
When I told my parents, they were excited, and immediately they was like, Mom, Dad, I'm gonna be on Warped Tour. Yay! What's Warped Tour? So showed them footage and like and photos, and it's like, oh wow, that's pretty big. So
we're excited.
yeah, I'm not good at, well, for the most part, not good at keeping secrets. So that was a pretty stressful 3 weeks that we had to
Yeah.
hide it. Like we were, oh man, just that build up of
Oh yeah.
announcing it. And yeah, the day of, I just remember telling a bunch of my friends, and it's like, and then my one buddy, he's flat like, Gerald, you suck. I'm like, why? I'm jealous right now. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man.
We've been working.
So
hard.
good not the first response I was expecting, but
Sure.
I'll take it. It's a good one.
It's too bad it's not the Scranton date. But
Yeah.
It's weird
We
how they do that.
we did try.
We tried.
Another band. I guess the local bands, they've been giving more than just one day this time.
I
so-
noticed that. Yeah, a couple of them had a few different days.
So I noticed that, and I messaged them like, "Hey, we are literally from there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can we get in?" They're
20
like,
minutes
"We'll get
away.
back to you." And then like a few
Yeah.
days later, they were like, "Unfortunately, another band
It was
has
booked
it."
up.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "That's fine."
Who is it?
Just-
It's like a bunch of bands from like out of the area. They're not they're local, I'm sure, to their area, but
Yeah.
like not to here. Like
Yeah.
I think they're from Jersey and New York and stuff like that. So
Yeah, because you guys are considered local, and it's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Right.
5
right,
hours away.
yeah.
But like, we're also on a stage that's like it's bigger.
Full Sail stage.
Yeah. So like, there's other
Right.
bands that are gonna be on there that like we listen to, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be crying.
Yeah, which is cool. That's
Yeah.
really
It
cool.
is. Him crying is cool, yes. But
It's
yeah,
your job to take video of that.
yes.
Should have done it at Foo Fighters. Happened.
I was crying too, so. But going back to the whole Warped Tour thing for Burgettstown, it was funny because when we announced it, I remember a bunch of people, friends, or people commenting, "Oh, I can't wait to see you guys. You're really going to drive all the way to Pittsburgh?" But they didn't read the thing saying that it was the
Yeah.
Pittsburgh location, so it's like,
Yeah, that's tough.
I love you, man, but I don't know if I could do the 5-hour drive.
Right.
So my parents are going.
That's cool.
And it's funny because my cousin, she's going too, and she got her hotel literally 3 months before we even got ours. So it's like, what the hell? yeah, we got the
We're-
hotel like a month ago now, I think.
Yeah, we're progressed.
Yeah, but we're good. We're good.
We're good.
So, what are some of your favorite memories from Warped Tour? You guys, I'm sure, have gone over the years. It's,
Yes.
Some of the bands that you enjoy. What did you enjoy from over the years?
So, well, just in general, Warped Tour alone has been such an outlet for many bands that I got into. I used to like strictly listen to like classic rock music for years, and then like some of my buddies were introducing me to like Breaking Benjamin, stuff like that, and then they were like, "Let's go to Warped Tour," and then like I go and like Bring Me the Horizon was playing, and like A Mice and Men, and it was just really neat, and like especially like meeting some of those people like that was just surreal for me, and like having to see that, I always wanted to be able to do that. But I never thought it was gonna happen. I remember when they announced this was the last one, I messaged the guys. I'm like, well, looks like it's not gonna happen, guys. And a few months later,
Proved ourselves wrong.
it's just really cool because like that's something that I know every local band like just dreams of doing, and just have it like I don't know, I just having to go there and see all the bands and just like it's just a good time, you know, and like having to meet everybody and. It's just the whole experience is something that I can't believe it's ending.
Yeah. For me, believe it or not, I didn't go to Warped Tour for the first time until 2 years ago.
What?
Yeah.
Where have you been?
Okay, well, let's just, I'm afraid if some of them are watching right now, but like back in high school, early college days, let's just say I didn't have the friends that I have now that would like to go to concerts all the time.
Right.
So it's that kind of thing where, and I was always socially awkward, so it's like, I don't know if I want to go by myself, so, and at a certain, look kids, you grow up and you don't give a shit anymore, so that's a lesson for today. So at a certain point, I didn't give a shit anymore, so I was like, you know, fine, I'm going to finally go. But 2 years ago, 2016, let's see, Yellowcard was on the tour. And it was their final one because they announced that they were breaking up. Sum 41 was there, Newfound Glory, Mayday Parade. Like, all of them announced that they were going to be on the tour. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to that. So, got there, and it was interesting. And it was that kind of thing where the night before, I watched videos, survival kits, or how to survive your day at Warped, and I'm like, okay, like literally taking notes. Like, I'm like doing more studying for this than I ever have in all my years in school.
If they offer you beef jerky, take all the beef jerky.
Exactly.
Right? Like, don't. Like, they're like, you want some Slim Jims? I would like 10, please. That's my meal for the day.
I already brought the Slim Jims, so I'm prepared, fam. But
Monster Energy, 10. Drink as many as you can. It might not be good, but you know what?
Nope. But yeah,
Job done.
I think that day Yellowcard was like the third band that performed, so I got very lucky there. And before they played, there was like a huge group of people in front of me. So I can't remember what band that played on the right foot stage, but then once they were done, they left, and thus, like, I was, like, right on the bar, and it was just the greatest day of my life. And then, but yeah, the first time I ever heard of Warped Tour was back when, on Fuse TV, because I remember they did a documentary on Warped Tour, and I'm, like, watching this, and I'm like, this is so cool, and, like, they were covering the 2004 Warped Tour, so when, like, Yellowcard, Newfound Glory, and My Chemical Romance were on, I was like, this is awesome. I want to be on this. I mean, it's clearly just a dream, so probably won't happen, but I could dream.
You guys got right in under the wire, too.
Yeah. Like, it's
I think I'm sure it'll continue as, you know, they're saying because the 25th anniversary will be next year. I'm sure they'll do like a one-off thing.
Right.
Like, they kept...
Maybe do that from now on. But it'll probably be in fucking California.
Yeah.
Where all of them
we're never
are.
going to be able to go to, you know?
You'd have to, like, really plan it out and fly. And
Right.
that's the same thing. Like, I was trying to explain to people, they're like, why is this one so important? I'm like, well, because you have, like, Coachella, the biggest festival there is, only in California. You know? This toured the country, and it was bigger, in my opinion.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, it definitely was the biggest one, the highest grossing for sure.
Of course.
You know, that's why it lasted. You know, it outlasted Ozfest, which was you know, big one.
Mayhem Fest.
Mayhem,
Uproar.
There was so many of them, and you know, that to me, like, I don't care what you think about like the Warped Tour lineups, or if you want to complain about they didn't get the right people or whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, I think it's sad that kids in the future will not have something like this. Because when I was growing up, and you know, I'm still just as broke now as I probably was when I was 15. But you know, in those days, like, I didn't have a lot of, you know, I didn't drive, you know, I didn't have a car. I wanted to see a lot of these bands. They were coming right to your doorstep for a low price, and maybe, you know, they were only like 30-minute sets and stuff. But you got to see a lot of bands that you wanted to see, you know, all in one day for a decent price. And, you know, that's priceless. You know, that's what's sad, that kids today will not grow up with that, not know what that is, because all those festivals are gone now. And I don't know if there will be any that replace them, because the costs are just too high. Obviously, I think Kevin Lyman would still be doing this if it was cost effective, but it just doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Even with names like Ozfest, they're just not making the money that they used to, or they're not, maybe managing it correctly. I don't know what the case is.
Especially in today's age, like hip hop and stuff like that has overthrown the rock and roll metal scene,
Sure.
and that probably has something to do with it, and it's a shame, but it is what it is, and it stinks because like years down the line, like I don't know like if I'll ever have kids or anything, but like if they were to come to me and like that meme, you ever see that meme where the kid comes to like the grandfather is like, I found this in your room, and he's like, sit down, let me tell you a story. That's what'll happen. It's just a shame because I don't know. It's just so special, like having you plan it out for months. It's like, all right, like 10 of my buddies, we're all going out. We're gonna meet there at 9 o'clock. We're gonna wait in line.
There's that one person that's late.
Yeah, someone's gonna buy one schedule. And we're all gonna take pictures of the schedule, and we're all gonna roam around. And afterwards we're gonna go, to the McDonald's on 315 and raid them for McChickens. Like that's just, that won't happen anymore.
Right.
It's a shame.
I'll still raid McDonald's for their chickens, though. So.
Oh, of course.
Sure.
Come on.
It's like Toys R Us.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
That's another.
Do you have a favorite
Another
tour
piece of my
moment?
child.
I saw Bad Religion so many times. Which they're one of my favorite bands of all time, if not my favorite band of all time. So that was my first opportunity to see them, and I would drive to Jersey and see them there, and like try to hit as many Warped Tours as I could within the tri-state area to try and catch them as many times as I could, because I didn't know when I was going to be able to catch them again. So those were always great, and I did get to see the very short-lived International Noise Conspiracy when they were in Jersey, which is the singer from Refused, and I fucking love Refused, and at the time Refused was broken up and they had moved on to other stuff, so this was the only way to see them live in some sort of way, because it was kind of in the same vein, not exactly the same type of band, but Refused obviously is making a resurgence now. They have they put out an album last year, the year before. It was fucking fantastic and stuff. So now there's more opportunities to see them, although I still haven't gotten to see them yet. Yeah. But he came out into the crowd, and he has like a huge wired mic. So like he's dragging this wire must have been 5,000 feet. Like he's walking into the crowd, like just going through throngs and throngs of people and like screaming and saying. It was just so much fun to watch, and it was just it completely was different from everything else in the rest of the day. And that kind of stuff was great. And then when I got older, it became more of, when I got into the journalism stuff, it was behind the scenes. So I got to see kind of how it works behind the scenes and interview bands and sit down with them. First it was when I was working with Mike Lello and stuff back in the day, to go hang out and shoot a couple of the bands, holding the camera, that kind of stuff. And then eventually transitioned to me interviewing them and stuff. I got to interview Guar last year, which was fucking great.
That's awesome.
Completely random, never going to happen again, probably. That kind of thing. So Warped Tour offered all those kinds of really cool, weird experiences that you'd never expect to have otherwise. All at once in one day. It was freaking insane. So I'm gonna definitely miss that for sure. Did you go to any of those?
My first, it's funny. I used to buy the compilation CDs.
Oh yeah, they were great.
Back in 2000. Yeah, it was like $10 for a CD, and it was like 2 discs.
Yeah,
like
full of like
50,
great songs.
50 songs,
Yeah.
50 bands. But I didn't go to Warped Tour. I don't think it was until like 2008 or 2009 for the first time. I took Amanda, girlfriend at the time, now my wife, and it actually stormed up on the mountain, like
Ooh,
bad,
really?
like downpour. Like, thankfully, I was working for the media at the time. Well, different media, still working media, but
Right.
we were able to get under like a media tent and like close to like one of the trailers.
Yeah.
But she was terrified because like it's hailing and everything.
Yeah.
And these kids that in these bands don't give a fuck. Like they're riding bikes out there, it's crazy. But and then a totally different time was like maybe 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was Fuzz at the time. We had like a tent on top of one of the whatever thingies, and I stopped by just to check it out and just to support the station.
Right.
And I'm in my suit and tie. So like my tie is not on, but like the rest of my outfit's on, so I look like a fucking narc.
Yeah.
Like give me the eye, like who the fuck this guy? Like we don't have any drugs, I promise. You know. But so that was like my two different experiences with Warped Tour. But
Yeah, it's interesting to see it from different sides like that.
yeah, I've been very fortunate where, well, I mean, like I got into it like late. Like, I mean, I'm too old for that shit. Like.
You're never
Yeah,
too
now-
old.
now
Now
it's-
it's the sweaty,
Yeah.
and the heat, and all that kind of
Yeah.
shit. And I'm not as committed as I used to be.
It's tough too, like me going to a Warped Tour surrounded by like 15-year-old kids. It's just like I look like
It's
somebody's
creepy.
dad or something. Yeah, it's
creepy.
fun.
I'm not-
Yeah, I get
I'm
that.
in
Like
a
I'm like
suit and a button-down
I'm totally
shirt.
here for the music. I'm
Yeah.
not here to creep on any of you. Please, like just let me enjoy the show without staring at me the whole time.
Yeah,
you
they're
know?
such young kids, and it's awesome to see because like, you know, they're gonna have that for forever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's creepy when you get to that like late 20s, early 30s. and
Right,
it's like,
right.
Listen, I just like the music.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's all I'm here for. You know? Which is sad because it says more about society than it does about us. You know, the fact that you have to worry about that. You know, but it's true. You know, there are fucking scumbags everywhere. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, you're gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Speaking of E57, by the way, Mike McDonald just finished up band practice. Can't wait to watch this late. Love you guys.
I love you more, forever.
You know, I'm burping up.
Bow to him.
Weed taste.
Oh, I know. Right? You know what? This has been. It's nice to go from that to this because it kind of gets rid of that flavor a little bit.
Yeah, but like this
So
takes
Mad
me back
Elf
to
is like-
Christmas.
It does.
Like I feel like it's.
Because it's got those like cherries
Yeah.
and stuff. But I love Mad Elf. I'll drink it anytime.
Yeah, if you're a Mad Elf fan, Beer Boys has it. So Wilkes-Barre, Beer Boys.
Christmas in July.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, get it while you still can.
Oh yeah.
You can get it in December. Get
Sure.
it now. Get it now.
Absolutely.
It's exclusive. You guys like that shit.
Oh, Shiny commented as well. My
What's
first
up?
Warped Tour was in 2005, and I got sunburn on half of my face because of my emo.
Oh,
You know what? That I can completely
Oh,
identify.
that's
The
rough.
one year I went, I was writing fun for Bad Religion, and my buddy Chris Hughes, who I would later work with in journalism, was covering the event, and he took a picture of me, and I didn't realize it obviously till I got home. But I was right in front, and at the time I had a mohawk, back when I still had hair in the middle of my head, and I had all my sunscreen was all over my face except for in the mohawk. So this part of my head, this strip, was bright red, like beet red, and the rest of me is pale white. And he took the picture, and I'm like, that is the best fucking picture. I'm like rocking out, not even noticing, but there's this huge burn in the middle of my head. One of the many Warped Tour casualties that you'll have.
Is that something to worry about though? Like, you know, we're talking about, you know, Warped Tour's gone, like, you know, kids growing up, not
Sure.
having that anymore. Toys R Us is gone.
Yep.
Nobody here has kids. I mean, I do.
Right.
So like, it's probably more topical for me than it is to you guys. But like, are we just those old guys saying like, oh, back in my day we had this? Like, but like
Yeah.
I feel like seriously, like that, like a lot of this shit. Like, what are the kids gonna have?
They're
Right.
see, and it
Yeah.
stinks because like nowadays you have all the social media stuff. Like you go and buy stuff at the fall of Toys R Us.
Right.
Cost or the way society is the fall of Warped Tour. Like our kids won't have that, which is a shame because it's a phenomena.
is.
Like it's something that we grew up with and it was so special, but like they won't have that opportunity and they won't understand like when it comes. You know what I mean? So
What will they get? Like, what will be their thing outside of the internet and their phones? Like, what?
I think that's really it.
Fortnite?
That's where it goes.
Fortnite
it's
What
all
are they gonna
online.
have?
It's
season
completely
100.
Crazy.
jeez.
It'll be something.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be those old guys like, maybe they'll find us on the internet somewhere in
Or-
20 years and
Or just watch.
assholes.
Maybe like a good 10, 20 years from now, there's probably someone from our generation who decides, you know what? I was inspired and influenced by Warped Tour, Bamboozle, Lollapalooza. I'm going to do my own little inspired tour. So, I mean,
That's true.
it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Obviously, Woodstock's not around anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I mean everything's cyclical too. Like everything comes back. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Like how big vinyl is now,
Oh,
Yeah,
that is,
that's
yes.
which is fucking
It's,
silly.
it's so weird
Yeah.
to think about. Yeah.
Silly. It's so big and bulky and chunky. It's like
You can't do, like especially with, like, cars, like, you can't just slip it in your car and drive. Like, you have to be
No.
home,
And
which
maybe
is
it's
fine.
from years of like going to shows and having my ears fucking blown out over and over. But maybe I just don't notice the difference. I'm sorry, vinyl people.
You're
but
not
I
going to
don't-
get better than CDs. You're
I
not, it's
don't
not gonna
care.
happen.
No.
Like, I don't
It's
know
not
if it's
gonna
really. I don't know if it's that much of a discernible difference.
It's not. There's no.
It's like the
fucking way.
wine people that'll tell you like, oh, this wine aged, 30 years in a barrel and whatever. And it's like, you're drinking box wine, motherfucker. You don't know the difference. You don't know the difference. Fuck you. Get out of here.
Head off your ass, man.
Stone Light. Holy shit. That's funny.
Oh man, this has been aged for like 30 years. Dude, you're drinking juicy juice.
Right.
Like-
It's aged juice. That's all it is.
Like, I can't. Like, I bought my son a record player, and like, he might have a handful of some records that I like.
Mhm.
Just so he can have it, and when he grows up, he can kind of like go through, and then my CD collection is huge. But I just can't get into it. Like, I don't want to spend money on it.
Right.
And
It's like $30 a vinyl.
Yeah.
and where am I going to store it?
Right.
I
Yeah,
can't
that's the biggest
do it.
problem.
I can't do it. It's not worth it.
I recently got my first vinyl player on Black Friday.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do I want to be my first vinyl record? So I just bought a bunch of Beatles records from like
Which
the
is
local stores, and
worth
I'm like, all right, I love
I
it.
don't know. But they get you because they do exclusive. They do like the colored vinyl and all
Yeah.
that kind of shit.
Right.
I bought a Ryan Adams 2-song like 7-inch the other day because only 1,500 made.
Yeah.
It's pink.
Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
I bought it. I'm an idiot. But I thought, it's for my son. He can check it out when he's older. But I don't know. It'll all come back.
It will. Everything comes full circle.
Yeah, it really does.
Caitlin Clewell says, this year is my first Warped Tour and I'm making the trip to Pittsburgh for Stay Loud. So
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you.
cool. It's so important to have people like that. And hopefully that continues in future generations. That they don't get, I used to either try to hitch rides or, with buddies or whatever. As soon as I got my, my aunt gave me her crappy '89 Ford Probe that I drove to Philly and stuff when I could not, I should not have been driving that far and, was not well versed in how to get around big cities. And this was before GPSs and all that kind of shit. So you were like, I printed out MapQuest directions and I'm like reading while I'm driving and shit. And, those are, it was so worth it every single time. And
That's crazy to think about, though.
I know, right?
Like, I don't like.
In
I
this,
didn't go places because I don't know how the fuck to get there. I'm not pulling out a fucking map to read it.
I probably should have died about 20 times
Not doing
doing
it. I
it.
drove down
but,
one-way streets a lot.
I'm still here, and I have those memories, so it's important to.
Chris,
to
can
do
you try
that
this
shit.
or no?
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
well,
I saved you spit. I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna drink tonight. But
Yeah.
There's a.
I will not pass up the offer.
So we
Feel
want
bad,
to
I feel
touch on
bad.
a couple other stuff
feel bad.
briefly before we wrap up tonight. We want to talk about since we're on that subject, we're talking about some all ages shows and things like that. We were the only ones to report about the Lackawanna Music Festival. We were kind of updating about it, and then the city of Scranton decided that Backbreakers can't hold any all ages shows there anymore due to safety concerns, so they shut that down. Then they tried to move the festival to the Irish Wolf Pub, and then they shut it down there too. So I don't know if somebody in the city had it out for it. I don't know because they wouldn't return my fucking calls. So I tried to do my due diligence and take the city side and say, well, to be fair, we have to worry about, some kid gets hurt or somebody passes out with the weather being as hot as it was that weekend, that kind of shit. You got to worry about that stuff. But the city wouldn't talk about it. So I guess we're going to have to talk shit on you now, city, because you won't return my calls.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Let's
Because
talk,
I watched a lot of this play out.
Sure.
I did. And again, maybe it's my age show. I'm 35. And so here's what happens.
Mhm.
So let's say Backbreakers isn't up to code. for whatever fucking reason, maybe there's no AC.
Yep.
It's 100 degrees outside. It's probably 110 in there. Whatever.
Right.
So if the city doesn't step in and say this isn't safe for whatever,
Right.
okay, all right, then they move it. They move it to Irish Wolf. Irish Wolf is not a. This is built as a festival. So there's what, 14 bands?
It was more like 15, 16
Okay,
bands,
15,
yeah.
16 bands.
Yeah.
Let's call it 5. Let's call it easy math. I can't do math right now. But let's say it's 5 people per band.
Right.
How many people is that?
That's a lot of people.
Just for the
There's
bands.
a couple hundred
Just
people.
for the
Just for the
bands.
That's a lot,
bands.
yeah.
Okay,
Then
so
you add.
so then you're trying to get people in the door and all
Sure.
that kind of stuff. Now I'm not downplaying the idea of this festival. I think it's great. What Joe and Kenny are doing, love it. It's awesome. It's great for the area. It's great. I mean, I'm all for it. You guys know that. But let's say, God forbid, they have it at the Irish Wolf. They stuff 100 people in there because whatever.
Yep.
Catches on fire.
Right.
People can't get out. People die.
Yeah.
Then everyone's gonna be like, well, how come the city didn't step in and stop this from happening? Or why didn't they look out for us?
Sure.
You can't fucking win.
Right.
I mean, like,
But you know what I think is the problem too is obviously somehow the city caught wind of this thing. Now we've been advertising it for months at this point. We've been talking about it for months. Obviously they followed the page or they found somehow that this thing was going on. Why did they wait until the weekend of the fucking show to say you can't do this here and then make everybody scramble, and knowing how many people are involved and how many people are waiting on something like this? The city also needs to, I think, be a little more proactive with that stuff, or at least put out some general idea. Like, you go to the city website, it hasn't been updated in 20 years. You know, there's no real information on there. There's a bunch of phone numbers, and you call them, and they never return your calls, or they don't give a shit, because they're constantly getting, and I covered city government, so I can say this, you know, definitively. They're sitting at home and they're getting paid for it, or they're coming in and they're putting their legs up on a desk for 6 or 7 hours, and then they're cutting out early and going home, and they're not really doing anything, but they're still getting taxpayer dollars for it. So I do feel like, you know, I completely agree with you, and I see that side of it. And the other side of it, I say the city really needs to do more to say, okay, well, you know, if you're going to do these types of events, we would love to have them, but here's some rules. Here's some ground rules. Here's some things we need to do, that kind of thing. Like, I mean, Backbreaker's been doing shows since May,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. It's been a
and
while.
now they just decided, like, all of a sudden you can't do shows there anymore. It's like, well, why did you wait until now
Yeah.
and then make them shut down a part of their business, you know, part of the way that they're making money to handle this? You know, I just feel like it was handled very poorly on their part as well. And they need to kind of step in and do something. And I know it's easy to complain about government.
And they should have called you back.
But
you know,
they-
they should give at least a statement.
Well, I feel at very least they should have talked to somebody. And a lot of it, from what I could understand too, from talking to the organizers and stuff like that, they didn't really get a lot of communication either.
Right.
You know, it was like somebody talking to somebody who's passing the information along. That needs to, I mean, in this day and age, that needs to go away.
And
Like,
it's-
we really need to be more transparent.
The city already has a bad reputation.
Yes.
Whoever's in
absolutely.
charge of PR or whatever the fuck you do there,
Right.
should be more on top of things so that way, you know, there aren't these conspiracy theories.
Yes.
You know, thrown out there and all that kind of shit. So
The most frequent comment we got when we published that story was somebody didn't get the envelope with the money in it. You know, and it was a lot. And the thing is you can't even say that that's not true, or like, oh, you're over exaggerating, because there's so many people in the city and county government that have been brought up on corruption charges, or, you know, little parks and things that have had to change their name because it turns out this guy has been scraping money off the bottom for 20 years and shit like that.
Right.
That you have to say those things. So it's frustrating that we live in such a corrupt area where you have to deal with that. And you have so many artists that, I mean, let's be honest, Scranton's economy is boosted every year by artists, whether it's theater with the Scranton Fringe Festival, or it's music with Electric City Music Conference and a bunch of others. You know, there's so many music festivals throughout the year. Arts on the Square, which is now an arts festival weekend, which we'll have more on that tomorrow on the site. But there's so many things going on in the area that boost the local economy that depend on the arts. You'd think the city would have a better understanding of how these things should go.
Yeah.
That's my frustration with it. But you guys did a music video at Backbreaker.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
So, so do you guys have a perspective on that as well? Having worked with these guys and hung out there and done some work there.
Yeah.
I mean, like when we saw like the article and all that, it was obviously a surprise to us because we've played there twice. Technically, we were actually the first band to perform there.
We were the first band.
Yeah,
right, yeah.
because
Ever
the first show was back in St. Patty's Day.
Yep.
St. Patty's Day was their first show because they for St. Patty's Day they had a lot of metal bands like they had like Toothless. Can't remember who else was there, but like they had all these heavy bands, and they wanted to get like a more punkish pop punk alt rock band just to even it out. So we opened the show. So theoretically, we are the first ones to perform there.
Yes.
So
They opened the venue.
yes,
Right,
we opened the venue. So theoretically,
Yeah.
but no, it's like the times we've been there, it's always been a good experience personally.
We personally thought it was going to be the best venue in
Yeah.
Scranton.
The pictures, I've never been there. The pictures look great.
The stage, just like even the
Stage.
green room. The green room's huge.
Yes,
Like,
and the people there are great. Like when
Yeah.
when we get there, the people who work there, they help carry in merch and like all your equipment.
it was something we
So,
had not experienced
yeah.
before, so it was great.
So hopefully they get their stuff up to code.
Hopefully.
Because we really
And especially for all ages shows, it's very
Yeah.
important because
Sure.
just like Warped Tour, how it's an all ages show, kids can go.
Yep.
They can go to these shows. If you don't have all ages shows, they can't go. They
Yeah.
can't find new bands. They can't support them. All that stuff. So
like we were kids before we understand. Like, hey, I want to go to the show. 21 up.
I
Fuck
can't
you.
go.
Like,
Never being 18, I wanted to go to bars, not to drink.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear music.
yeah. My very first band. Funny story. Our first show. I'm not gonna say where it was, but our very first show. There was some communication issue where some of the bands that were gonna play, members were underage. I was 16 at the time,
Yeah.
so we.
Murray's.
Yeah. But
Nailed it first try.
Was it?
no. Like I said, I don't want
Nice
to.
caps.
I don't want to say it out loud.
How old
But
are you?
I'm 25.
Go ahead.
So.
I'm sorry.
But no, we and I partially helped out in the process of booking the show. So they asked the owners specifically, "Hey, some of the band members are underage. Like, are they able to perform?" And it's like, yeah, they'll be fine.
Outsiders.
No. the day of the show, like we load in our equipment, and then the same person we were talking to, she was like, yeah, anyone underage, get out. And it's like, what the fuck? It was again, I'm not gonna say where it is again, but
What town?
Wilkes-Barre. But okay, so I'm not again because I'm not gonna say where it is. What happened was, young teenage me was all pissed off. So I remember I was in the bathroom, just washed my hands, and my bass player comes in, and we're like, "Yo, this is so stupid." Like, yeah, I know, right? So we started trashing the bathroom.
Nice.
So
That's punk rock.
wait,
Yeah.
but here's the
That's
thing.
like-
But like I was doing like petty stuff, like throwing napkins and stuff. He took it the next level, grabbed the trash bin, and threw it at the mirror, and it shattered. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? We bolted out of there.
This is
Again, like I said, I'm not gonna say.
throwing paper.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. So it was awkward because actually, like a couple months ago, my brother and I, we went there for food. I've forgiven the place since. New management.
So it's still
Oh, Jesus. What have I done? So it was just awkward because I remember going to the bathroom and I'm like, oh boy. I haven't been here since that night. Was it?
Redounders.
No.
You're not gonna tell me if I'm right.
I'm going to tell you off camera.
All right.
But yeah, that was yeah. I look fondly at that, I guess, little angsty, angry 16-year-old me. But yeah, it sucks like when you have no shows that are all ages, because like, and especially like a lot of people who follow us, like they're in high school,
Sure.
so it's that kind of thing where it's like, yo, I can't wait to come to your show, and then it's like, it's 21 and up. We're sorry. Like
Right.
it's heartbreaking to tell them that. You know, they want to go to shows.
I'm happy that Carl Hall is here. So
Yes.
please
Yes.
go out and support Carl Hall.
Yes.
But again, you know, it comes down to, do you have transportation? If you're from Scranton, can
Yeah.
you get to Wilkes-Barre for a show? And it's really not that
Uber.
far.
It's not.
Uber.
But
Turn your phone,
you know,
you type in the Uber
get some
thingy,
friends
and then
together,
just,
get your
Yeah.
older brother or sister to drive you, whatever the case may be. Get to Carl Hall. Please support those guys because they're actually doing it.
Can't kids get Uber? We didn't have that option.
Yeah, that's true. You
They could.
They could.
Yeah. Be safe.
I don't know how much Uber drivers cost, but I mean,
Enough.
whatever.
Like
Enough.
$10 to get
Yeah.
to maybe 20
They
bucks
could,
round trip.
they could use their allowance.
Go with your friends and, you know, split the cost. And
Ride share? Come on.
There you go.
Take advantage of those phones you're on all the time.
Yeah.
and you guys two are playing the Electric City Music Conference.
Yes.
Yes, we are. Second time.
Second time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys have any upcoming shows you guys want to plug?
Well, I would have plugged the Backbreaker show, but unfortunately
Yeah.
that's canceled.
That got canceled. Right.
Let me see if I had the schedule in my head. The week after, the Monday after Warped Tour, we're going to be at the Keys,
Yes.
and there's a pending show because again, it was supposed to be at Backbreakers,
Right.
but the guy is trying to find a new venue, so we haven't heard back from him yet. So that's still pending. August is going to be a bit of a busy one.
Yes, it is.
Off the I don't know the order of the shows, but we're gonna be in Pottsville.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yep, we're gonna be in Pottsville. I believe that's the 10th. I want to say it's the 10th.
Sure. We'll go with the 10th.
Okay, we'll say it's the 10th. It's a Friday, so whatever Friday. Then we're gonna be playing at the parking lot of Curry Donuts across from Holy Redeemer.
Oh, yeah.
What's that kid's face?
Oh, that's right. We
The
just had
Perry
him on the
Donut
show.
kid, Yeah. I
Not too
can
long
picture it.
ago.
I just can't.
We had the
Is it Cody?
Skate park on. Is it Cody?
no, it wasn't Cody. But we did the Curry Donuts.
Need help?
No.
I'll hold it.
So yeah, we have that show, and then
Is on there.
we have another show coming up later that week. I don't know if I can announce it yet. It's a birthday show, but she's gonna announce it later this week. So I don't know if
Sounds pretty important.
oh, she's a good friend, but it's just that kind of thing where it's like I don't know if I want to like actually announce that. So I'm just gonna leave it there. It is gonna be open to the public, so if anyone wants to go, and then a week after that is with at V Spot with Traverse the Abyss. So.
That's
So-
a different. You guys and Traverse the Abyss.
Yeah, they're good pals of ours because the first time we ever played at the Irish Wolf Pub, they asked us to play. They knew Chris prior, and
George, by the way.
it was funny because I remember I was like, yeah, sure, why not? We'll play. And then I remember seeing the banner, and it was St. Patty's Day Metal Night, and I'm like, yeah, we're not sure we do delve into some like
Yeah.
heavy stuff, but
Not quite the same.
not
thing.
quite to the degree of metal. And then we're like, we were a little anxious when it came time to play that show. But then once we got there, everyone was fucking hammered. Like there was a guy just moshing to like the fucking football game that's going on or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? The moment they hear a power chord, they're gonna be like, "Yo, guys, this is metal." So it was, and it was actually a really good show. And it was so cold. I'll never forget. It was because I just remember loading in. It was like, obviously being me, I like to wear Converse, Chucks, and Vans. So like I'm wearing these in the snow. So I just remember my feet being like really cold while I'm playing. And yeah, it was a good night. And unfortunately, I forgot my earplugs that night. So a full metal night.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was. I was convinced that this was the day that I lose my hearing. So wear earplugs, kids. My dad has to wear hearing aids, so it's that kind of thing where I'm looking at the profession that I'm in, and I'm like, yeah, I should really protect my hearing.
Right.
And don't make fun of people who wear earplugs at shows. They're doing the right thing.
Look at the old man wearing
Yeah.
earplugs.
I remember it was
Pussy.
it was 2 years ago. I remember I saw Blink-182. They came to Hershey Stadium, and their opener was All Time Low. And the guy up front, he was wearing earplugs, and I just remember some guy in the behind me, just shouting like, "Take off your earplugs!" He called him the F word, the other F word, and I'm like, yo, dude.
That word.
I'm like, yo, dude, chill.
It's 2016 at that point. You can't do that.
I'm like, yo, dude, chill. Like, but it's, yeah, wear earplugs. I always have earplugs when I go to shows, and people know that I have earplugs, so they just walk up to me and it's like, they just know, and it's so awkward because like I have it in like the little Ziploc bag, so I come out, I pull it out and I open it, and then people think I'm like giving them pills,
Yeah.
Right.
and like you see how brightly colored earplugs are. They look like fun stuff if you swallow them. So it's always awkward because
Don't swallow it.
there's always that one person that's like, dude, are you giving them drugs? I'm like, they're fucking earplugs, man.
I got this too.
Which, by the way, shout out to Vinny, by the way, for doing these kind of shows on a Friday or Saturday night. When I know that he can make, he books a lot of cover bands because that's obviously the way to make money, way to people get in the bar and stuff like that. But he's not only doing that, but he's doing the Slapjaw show in a couple of weeks, which is their 20th anniversary.
20th?
Yeah, they've been around 20 years, which is
Jeez.
crazy to think about. And
I was in kindergarten.
right. It's great. And bands like that on a Friday and Saturday night, that's it's very cool that he's still booking that kind of stuff. So shout out to Traverse the Abyss, by the way. They're always tagging us and shit. And
They're the
I think
best.
it's fucking cool.
All those guys.
Which, you can tag me or anybody else in shows that you want to get out there. I know how hard it is in this day and age to promote shows and get stuff out there and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. It's only so many times you get hashtag stuff.
I know, right?
It's like what can get this to reach out to people? Hashtag pop punk, hashtag alt rock, hashtag NEPA music scene, hashtag rock and roll, hashtag guitar, hashtag. Let's see, there's a guitar right here, so hashtag back facing guitar. Like, it's only so many times you can do that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
But
a struggle.
Always tag NEPA scene too.
Yes.
Feel
Always
free
tag.
to tag us and let us know about shit going on in the area. We're usually, I'm pretty up on this stuff. I read about you guys, especially on the local music scene. Like anybody would follow, national musicians or international musicians. That's how I follow the local music. But feel free to always tag us in that stuff or post it on our page, whatever you want to do. But also share our stuff too as well. Get our stuff out there. I see a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I found out about this show on NEPA Scene," and then they share the Facebook event instead of sharing our article about it. And it drives me nuts every time. I'm like, please, if you find out through stuff through us, if you use us as a resource, please share our shit. Share this tonight. If you're watching the show and you're enjoying it, please share it. Let other people know, because as soon as this is over, this is going to turn into a regular video that you can share with your friends. So please make sure you do that. So we probably shouldn't get into another full discussion at this point. We're already kind of running over time. But did want to mention that punk, I think, especially with Warped Tour, is becoming a little too safe. The NoFX incident is a good indication of that. Now, Fat Mike is known for his bad fucking jokes and stuff and offensive shit over the years. I'm not a NoFX fan, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not really a fan. Never really listened to them. Never really cared for them. But he made a joke in May in Vegas, which I think that was the problem. Is he made a Vegas joke while he was playing in Vegas about the shooting that they had there. And more or less, joked like, "Oh, he said, man, I'm getting shot in Vegas. I mean, if you're a country band," and made a joke about, "Oh, well, if they're country fans, it's okay for them to get shot, and not a punk fan." But at the same time, I look at it as like it's punk rock music, and when you think about the punk rock greats, like people who are trashing venues and literally shitting on stage and throwing it at fans and stuff like that. When you think about the actual history of punk rock music, that's completely tame in comparison. And granted, I get like Stone Brewery dropped them and stuff because they were doing like a beer with them and stuff like that. I get it. But like the fact that they can't get booked anywhere now, like they're like places across the country will not book NoFX now because of what they said. Like I think that's a little overboard because you know what? People forget it in a fucking week. They move on to the next thing to be outraged about.
Outrage culture.
That's exactly it. We're getting into the outrage culture where we have an online lynch mob for whoever said something off the cuff that week or said a stupid comment or whatever, and we ruin their fucking career that they've worked decades for over one stupid thing. And I think that's a little too far. I think the punishment needs to fit the crime. So with that stuff, I'm like a little, and even with Warped Tour, there was a band who like trashed the stage and they got kicked off the rest of the tour.
Oh, Islander.
That's who
And they're great.
And that another thing, it's like,
and they just trashed the
are you
stage.
kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, would you have fired Nirvana back in the day? Because they did that all the fucking time, and they're considered legends now, and
Yeah.
everybody wears their fucking T-shirt they bought from Walmart because it's now considered
grunge era,
considered safe music now. We play it on the fucking radio every week. But when they were actually like doing this stuff, in our outrage culture, if they were doing it today, we would have banned them and shit on them and shunned them and said, "Oh, you never go to any of their shows" and that kind of shit. And I'm not all for that. I think we need to be a little more forgiving, especially when it's punk rock. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know what you think.
Punk rock, Roseanne, whatever.
Roseanne's another. She's just being stupid.
Well,
that's
is.
just dumb on your part to
Yeah.
make those kind of comments and say that shit. Like,
Well-
hey, I got a fucking hit show after how many decades of being completely irrelevant.
You
Let
know-
me go on Twitter and fucking ruin my life.
Well, I mean, I think you get to an age where you shouldn't have Twitter. You shouldn't have a smartphone in there. But, I mean,
Right.
first of all, I don't want to get into it because I mean I never watched Roseanne back in the '80s. I never watched Roseanne currently.
Sure. Yeah.
And the whole joke of like Ambien doesn't cause racism. But
Absolutely.
People are they're people, and one comment. I don't know if it should ruin a life.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, like you have, like you are, it's Roseanne isn't me and you.
Sure.
We could probably say a lot worse things, and nothing's gonna happen to us because we don't have the audience that they do.
Right.
So with that power comes great responsibility,
Yes.
and you have to be mindful of that.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
Beat me to it.
No, it's just you have to be cognizant of that kind of stuff. Like we wouldn't do that
Sure.
because
Yeah, I mean, I just keep my political. Like, I'm a very political person, and
Are you
I'm
really?
very outspoken about that kind of
I
stuff.
never would have known that.
But I don't put it online
Yeah,
anymore
and
because
I never
when I
will.
ran a political blog, I did all the time because that's the point, is to get your opinion out there. But now that I don't do that anymore, I don't focus on that as much. Not that I think it's not important to talk about this stuff, but at this point, do I really want to get into that? Like there's a local school board guy who's in the papers now for making a stupid Facebook comment. And while I don't think he should be gone for that, he should have been gone for the DUIs that he committed a while ago. I think that's what should have got him. The fact that we're now complaining about him making an offhand stupid Facebook comment is a little silly. But he's a fucking bad person to begin with, and should have been gone off that school board a long time ago. But that's another topic for another day. I don't want to get into that now. So, we will make sure you guys check out Stay Loud at the Vans Warped Tour in Burgettstown on Monday, July 16th. It's near Pittsburgh. If you want to drive out that way.
That's this Monday coming up.
That's Monday. And the Pavilion show is on Thursday, July 26th. Obviously, no local bands playing that for some reason or another, but I probably will still go check it out just to kind of
It's funny. Andrew Blake.
yeah.
God damn it.
Jared Bear, Bobby Baby Cakes. And Justin from Backbreaker just tuned in too.
Nice.
Justin.
You missed it, Justin. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go back and watch it when we're done here.
Yeah. We're all about you. We hope.
We're pro Backbreakers.
Yes.
Yes.
Please continue.
And we're pro Joe Caviston. We're pro
Yes.
Kenny Norton. We're
Yes.
pro Meat and Potato.
Yep.
We're pro the fucking scene.
Yes.
If you guys haven't noticed yet.
Yeah. Right.
Every
It's
fucking
kind of the
Wednesday,
whole point of the.
and I do my show every Saturday. It's like we do it for free. So
Yeah.
And
Right.
we're pro Andrew Blank.
Oh, 5,000
Yes.
times over.
And his meme making skills.
Oh,
Yes.
he is a meme lord. Yes, it is.
Yes.
I
aspire to be close to what he is.
I had the honor of doing a video of him. So what happened? Okay, so there was a brief moment where I almost had to fill in on bass guitar for send requests.
Send memes.
Yes, send memes.
Thank you.
So I met up with Andrew at his apartment, and so he taught me a bunch of the songs, and so we got done early, and he asked me if I wanted to be part of his new video, and the video was, I love it because it was SpongeBob inspired. In the SpongeBob episode, when SpongeBob and Patrick take care of a worm, but then it became a butterfly. There was a song in that, a best friend song in that. So he literally recorded a version of that song, and like he shows it to me, and I'm like, I know this song, and I recognize the voice. I'm like, dude, did you really just record your own cover version of this? And his fiance Gabby was like, you don't understand how long he's been up all night singing "A friend is a friend to the end." So I'm like, oh man, this is great. So we just sat down, we just brainstormed, like, okay, like all this, like what would friends do? Like it was gonna be like one of those cheesy montage videos.
Yeah.
So we had this idea of like I tie my tooth to like string, he puts on a fan, turns on the fan goes too fast, and it pulls me.
Yeah.
There's a part where like he's like, as if he's thrown up in the toilet, and I'm like helping him hold his head. There's a part of us like drawing like stick figures, and then it ends very grim because like I open a freezer, accidentally hit him in the head, and he like gets unconscious. And rather than help him up, I just leave. And it just ends with him just lying there dead. So you can find it on his page somewhere. So I'll reshare it just to be safe. But yeah, I've had
in the comments.
I will.
The show.
I've had the honor to work with Andrew on one of his memes, and I feel like a new man.
The funniest thing was Holly from Cole Creative. They were doing some kind of community service, and she did that pose.
Yes.
that he does. And I'm like, holy shit, Andrew! Check this out. And then he responded to this other weird meme. Angry.
So that's another thing. I can never have a straight conversation with him because he will send memes in response, and it's like, what is it? A yes or a no? So
he'll put the poorly drawn him going like this, and I'm just like, what is that?
And it's him. It's got the red flannel and everything. It's got the sunglasses. I'm like that's perfect.
They were great at their. They played Warped Tour last year.
Yep, we were there.
We see them. They were fucking great. They all played matching flannel.
Yep, they did the flannel. It was funny because I remember after that show, like, because they played the main stage.
Yeah.
I remember when I was about to leave, I was saying bye to them, and I told Andrew and John. I told them I was like, yo guys, that was like the most inspiring thing ever. Like we're gonna make it our goal to make it on Warped Tour next year, and pretty glad to say that we achieved that.
Yes.
I mean, so
we've been practicing a lot, and I hope it pays off.
Don't fuck it up.
Hope not.
Okay.
No pressure.
If I can tell you anything, don't fuck it up.
I won't. We won't.
We won't.
We'll be...
Hopefully, I have this irrational fear about falling off the stage.
Don't be a Dave Grohl, but come back.
Yes.
Like Dave Grohl.
Don't come back broken though.
The one time, okay, a spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen Avengers: Infinity War, but before the first Friday show, I had I had this dream where we were playing that show, and my guitar just turns to dust and like fades away. So I woke up that morning, I'm like, oh fuck, I can't let that happen. So I brought two of my guitars to the show, and I explained to them, like, guys, I legit had a dream my guitar just disappeared, so I brought two just to be safe.
I wish I would have known I would have just caught them on fire.
Oh no!
Oh no, weird.
They're my favorite ones, man. Don't do that to me. I might do the same thing for Warp, just a heads up.
I'm bringing two.
Same.
But
CJ's listening right now. He's like, you assholes. We have no room in the cars.
we'll have room. Trust me.
But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun drive.
Yeah.
Which
Should we kill it?
yeah, Maru says come to Buffalo, New York.
Definitely.
Totally. That'd be fun.
What?
Cora Andres says, wish you and Gerard, stay loud.
It's my aunt.
The best as you perform at Warped Tour. So.
Thank you. My family's watching.
So we'll close it out with one more song before
Yeah.
we go.
Definitely.
All right.
Which one's this?
Basement.
Basement, which we just released a music video for 2 weeks ago.
Yes, 2 weeks
yes.
ago now. Oh, wow.
Very exciting. So, yeah.
Check it out. It was filmed at
Yeah.
Yes, it
It's cool. It
was.
was a nice video.
Thank you.
Thank you
job.
so
you very
much.
much.
We were very, very impatient. We were like, well, so when's the video gonna be done? But it was worth.
Who did the video?
Eric
Eric
Curtis.
Curtis and Ryan Brett.
Very cool.
Yep. Also, before we start, don't forget this Friday we're dropping our new song, "Fuck Yourself."
Yes.
So pick that up. It'll be on all platforms.
Easy.
Unfortunately, it won't play on the radio.
Get out of your way.
All right.
This is Basement.
Can you hear the sound of everyone screaming? Isn't that what you want? Everything that we dreamed of. Don't tell me you forgot. But we're gonna get it right tonight. We're in the basement, playing to ourselves. I hope that you can hear us now. Writing and playing guitar, everything goes well. I hope that this is good enough to sell. Can you hear the voices inside your head? Is it steering you right? Telling you every note to play or how to sing it right. But we're gonna get it right tonight. We're in the basement, playing to ourselves. I hope that you can hear us now. Writing and playing guitar, everything goes well. I hope that this is good enough to sell. I hope that this is good enough to sell. We're in the basement, playing to ourselves. I hope that you can hear us now. Writing and playing guitar, everything goes well. I hope that this is good enough to sell. I hope that this is good enough to sell.
Close enough. Thank you.